I supported my boyfriend when he was broke, paid his bills, fixed his laptop, fed him. But the moment he became rich, he introduced me as just a friend. He became ashamed of me. My name is Ada. I met Daniel when we were both students at the University of Lagos. He wasn't popular, he wasn't rich, he wasn't even confident, but he was brilliant. Daniel had ideas, big ideas, the kind that made people laugh when he shared them. I'm going to build an app that helps small Nigerian businesses grow, he would say. People would nod politely, then change the topic. Because in Nigeria, dreaming big without money sounds like madness. But I saw something in him, not just ambition, I saw hunger. He came from a small town in Ogun State, raised by a single mother who sold food by the roadside. Every semester was a struggle. Sometimes he skipped meals to save money. Sometimes he borrowed textbooks because he couldn't afford his own. I remember the first time he told me he might drop out. I can't keep stressing my mom, he said quietly one evening. We were sitting on a broken bench near the hostel. I looked at him and said, "If you quit now, you will regret it forever." He didn't argue. He just looked tired. That was the night I made a decision. If he couldn't carry the dream alone, I would carry it with him. After graduation, reality hit hard. No immediate job, no connections, no rich uncles, just dreams and determination. Daniel started working on an app from a tiny rented room in Yaba. The roof leaks during heavy rain. The fan barely worked, but he worked every single day. I had gotten a job at a bank. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid regularly. So I became the silent partner. I paid the rent when he couldn't. I bought data subscriptions. I covered groceries. And when his laptop broke down, I used my savings to fix it. Not once did I complain because I believed in him. I believed that one day his ideas would matter. There were nights he felt like giving up. Maybe this isn't realistic, he would say. I would hold his hand and reply, "It will work, just don't stop." Love at that time was simple. We didn't have money for fancy dates. Sometimes dinner was bread and tea. Sometimes we shared one plate of rice, but we were happy. Or maybe we were hopeful. The breakthrough started slowly. Then, all at once, one investor noticed his work, and another. Then a tech blog featured his app. Suddenly, the same people who laughed at him started calling him visionary. Fundings came, big fundings. Daniel moved into a better apartment. He hired a team, started traveling for conferences. I remember the first time he bought a brand new car. He was shaking with excitement. "I did it," he said, hugging me tightly. "No," I whispered, "we did it." And for that moment, he agreed. Success changes people in ways that are not always obvious at first. It starts small. Daniel began dressing differently, talking differently, spending time with important people. I was proud of him, but somewhere along the line, something shifted. He stopped asking for my opinions, stopped calling me as often. When I asked about it, he would say, "I'm just busy, you know how it is." Busy became the excuse. He upgraded everything, his wardrobe, his car, his circle of friends, except me. The first time I felt it clearly was at a tech event in Victoria Island. Daniel invited me. I wore my best dress, simple and elegant, but when I arrived the room, it was filled with powerful people, CEOs, investors, influencers. Daniel was laughing loudly with a group of them. I walked over and touched his arm gently. He introduced me quickly. "This is Ada, a friend from school." A friend? Not girlfriend, not partner, just friend. I felt my stomach drop, but I smiled because causing a scene will make me look insecure. Later that night, I asked him about it. He sighed. "You know how these spaces are. It's complicated. Complicated. Our 5-year relationship was now complicated." Then suddenly there was a new woman. Her name was Vanessa. Light skin, polished accent, always perfectly dressed. She was the marketing consultant for his company. I noticed how often her name appeared in our conversations. Vanessa thinks this. Vanessa suggested that. Vanessa knows investors in London. Vanessa this, Vanessa that. At first, I ignored it. Then one evening, Daniel cancelled our dinner plans. "I have an important meeting," he said. I saw him that same night on someone's Instagram story at a private yacht party. Vanessa beside him, a hand on his shoulder. The way she looked at him was not professional. When I confronted him, he didn't deny that things had changed. "Ada," he said, running his hand through his hair, "you need to understand that my life is different now. I am not that broke guy in Yaba anymore," he continued. I have responsibilities. Image matters. Image? I looked at him carefully. And I don't fit into that image I asked. He didn't answer directly. You are amazing, but you are comfortable. You don't push yourself. Comfortable? I had worked overtime shifts to support him. I had given him my savings. I had stood by him when nobody else believed. But now I was comfortable. The truth came from a newspaper article. Tech star Daniel Adeyemi engaged to marketing executive. Engaged to Vanessa. There was a photo. Him on one knee, her crying happily. The comments were full of congratulations. Power couple, perfect match, made for each other, made in heaven. I couldn't breathe. I called him immediately. I was going to tell you, he said. When I asked quietly, he was silent. And that things have evolved. The word felt like a slap. So all those years I whispered, he replied, you were important in that season of my life. That season, as if I was temporary, as if love had expiry dates. We met one final time at the same broken bench near the university where we first talked about our dreams. He arrived in an expensive car, designer watch, polished shoes. He looked like success. I looked at him and remembered the boy who once cried because he couldn't afford textbooks. Do you ever think about those days? I asked. He smiled faintly. Of course. Do you ever think about me? I asked. He hesitated. You deserve someone who can give you more. More? I didn't want more. I wanted loyalty. I wanted gratitude. I wanted the boy who once said, I can't do this without you. But that boy was gone. Money didn't just change his lifestyle, it rewrote his memory. I didn't beg him. I didn't shout. I didn't curse him. I simply stood up and walked away. Not because I was strong, but because I finally understood something. You cannot compete with someone who is ashamed of their past. And I was his past. Months passed. I rebuilt quietly. I focused on my growth, started a small side business, invested in myself. One day, I saw another article. Daniel Adeyemi's company faces financial investigation. There was a scandal, mismanagement of funds, investors' lawsuits. The comments were no longer praise, they were brutal. A week later, I received a message from him. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time, then I deleted it. Not out of anger, but clarity. Because I realized something powerful. I loved him when he had nothing. He left me when he had everything. And now that everything is shaking, he remembered me. But I was no longer waiting. Success reveals character. It doesn't build it. The world may celebrate you when you rise, but the real taste of greatness is how you treat the people who helped you climb. Daniel became rich, famous and respected, but somewhere along the way, he forgot the girl who believed in him before the applaud. And that loss was greater than the money he ever made. If you are building with someone right now, pay attention. Watch how they treat you when they start winning. Because struggle shows love, but success shows loyalty. And sometimes, the person who helped you survive your worst day will be the one you lose in your best days. He became rich and he forgot me, but I never forgot who I was. And in the end, that was worth more than everything.